Welcome along to a new feature on the channel. With the videos we're going to be bringing to F1 Clash, we are going to be guiding you in the right direction every time the track stats change in Series 10, 11 and 12. Yes, I know a lot of you can struggle when Hutch do change them, and these changes are expected to get more frequent. Potentially every couple of weeks, you're going to have to get used to a new track stats in one of the top 3 series. Now, if you've got used to it, you're about to find the change. And if you're in Series 9, it is the 25th of July, I'm recording this. 27th of July is when the Series 9 strategy guide comes out. If you're watching this after, you don't need to worry because you're already in Series 10, 11 and 12. So yes, Hutch are going to change the track stats roughly every couple of weeks in Series 10, 11, 12. And we're going to use this video to give you the best setups and the best drivers that I feel in each of them 3 series. Now remember, I'm racing in Series 12, so a lot of my car parts are going to be higher. The key for you is to take away why I'm using the drivers and why I am going with the stats as well. So let's go take a look first of all at Series 10, shall we? First of all, Series 10 last week, or as of 24th of July and before, we had Series 10 of cornering. We had Monaco, Zandvoort, Singapore and Spain. So nice and easy. All you had to focus really was on a cornering car setup. Now that now changes and it gets a lot harder in Series 10 because, nightmare, you can now no longer use one car setup. It is all about tyre management in Series 10. So this is what we need to factor in to our drivers. The car setup is going to be changing for each of the races apart from 2 tracks. So we are going to go for a balanced setup. So let's take a look. We've got Silverstone, which is power unit. We've got Mexico, which is cornering. We've got Spain, which is cornering. And we've got speed for Abu Dhabi. So we've got 2 cornering circuits, 1 power unit, 1 speed. That means that 50% of these tracks are cornering based. So you're going to want a pretty balanced setup with a cornering stat which is slightly higher because you're most probable to getting a cornering circuit. Now let me run through the strategy and the setups, whatever, for this one. So if we head over to setup number 1, which you are going to follow, we're going to do a setup for each series. So as you will notice, this is the car setup. It's all based on Series 10 or below. And you can see our setup down below. So cornering 167. Now again, my car parts are higher. You might not have as high. But the main feature to take away from this is that speed and power unit are less than cornering because cornering features 2 times out of the 4. So we want our cornering to be higher than the other 2. Now if you can get your speed and power unit level, great. If you can't, what you're going to find is you're going to have to balance off the best you can. So in this case, I've gone with 158 speed, power unit 149, which means I'm going to be slightly better at speed than I am power unit. Power unit is my weaker track. So really, there's not a lot you can do too much with that one. We've got to factor in cornering, and one of these is going to be worse off. By all means, if you can get a balanced setup, try it, but I really like this setup. Drivers-wise though, who have we gone for? So, we know it's tyre management. We've got up to Series 10 drivers, and we've gone for the RB pair of Yuki Tsunoda and Danny Ricciardo. Reason being, they have decent tyre management for Series 10, 82 for Yuki, 77 for Danny Ricciardo. Of course, I have higher levels, but the qualifying is really good for Danny Ricciardo. The race start really good for Yuki, even though he starts further back. So that is my recommendation. Now, you can use Pierre Gasly, but again, he starts a little bit further back, and his tyre management is not the best either. So I'm very comfortable with these 2. But again, it really just depends on what you've unlocked and what you haven't, and what levels you have got them to as well. Now, let's move on to Series 11. Okay, so Series 11, last time out, was a power unit circuit for Bahrain. We had Canada in there, which was cornering, Brazil for power unit, and Baku for speed. So that was a very balanced setup for Series 11. Now, Series 11, for anybody in that, will be very glad to hear that that has changed to now a car setup. So you now only require a speed setup in Series 11. So as you can see here, we've got Austria, which is defending and speed. China, overtaking and speed. Vegas, race start and speed. And Jeddah, tyre management and speed. So with that one, you can't really go ahead and match off your driver stats too well, but it's all about going for that pure speed setup, little bit of qualifying linked into Series 11 as well. So if we head over to our setups, we're going to go to setup 2 that we built for this one. We'll start with the drivers. So again, my levels are very, very high. So if you haven't got them, then obviously don't worry. But again, we're going on something that we've seen similar before in setup number 1 for Series 10. We've gone for a good race start driver in George Russell, who also has good tyre management, decent defending, okay qualifying, and okay overtaking. We've gone for Alex Albon, who has got very good qualifying, very good race start. His defending and overtaking is not too bad, but his tyre management isn't great. So just beware of Albon's tyre management a little bit. Car setup though, here you go. It's all about speed. It's nice and easy now in Series 11. We have gone 260 speed just because we've got most parts at, well, a couple below or even one below max level. Qualifying is still fairly high as well. We could go higher than this, but we want to factor in a bit of qualifying. So for you at home in Series 11, add all your speed in that you possibly can, and then just add and tweak a little bit of qualifying. You want to be adding 5, 6, 7 qualifying stats, losing around 15, 20 speed. You will be fine. You're going to be way quick enough. Anything over 200, you're going to be pretty quick in Series 11 anyway. So build your setup in Series 11 with your best drivers, qualifying race start, I would argue, and then your setup wants to be pure speed, and if you can, then go and add in a little bit of the qualifying stat to help you. So then moving on to the final one, we have Series 12 to go and have a look at. Now, Series 12 was pretty easy recently. It was all about power unit. Series 12 players loved being in Series 12 because it literally was Miami, Silverstone, Australia, Bahrain, full of power unit. But now it's got very, very difficult for our Series 12 players, or very annoying and frustrating, but it's only what Series 11 had before. So what is Series 12 and what do you need to run with it? So Series 12 now is overtaking. So it is the driver stat of overtaking which is featured prominently. So we've got Brazil with power unit. We've got Canada with cornering. Bahrain with power unit. And Baku with speed. So we've got 2 power unit tracks, 1 cornering, 1 speed. So you should know this by now with Series 10, what we're about to say. But I'm going to give you a caveat, and if you've been watching this far, it's a good caveat for Series 10 as well. So, if we go and take a look at the setup, because we're at the higher end of the spectrum with parts now, we've unlocked pretty much Series 11, Series 12 epic parts, we can build a very balanced setup. 188 speed, 191 cornering, 187 power unit. Good qualifying in there as well. Now, again, I know this doesn't feature power unit as strong. I get that 100%. But there is little changes that you can make. This is going to be the most common setup that you're going to see running in Series 12. Because when it comes to sprints, you're going to be scoring fairly decent at every single track. Now, there is one change that you can make, and you can make it with any of these parts really, is going to swap out something for power unit. Adding power unit in, that is. Now, that is going to give you really good effectiveness at them 2 tracks of power unit, and then it's going to get rid of one of the circuit's bad ones. So you're effectively going to have 3 good tracks, 1 bad one, which is good for sprints if you avoid the bad one. But, of course, Series 12, again, we'll just double check, power unit is twice. So, if you want to make the change, you want a bit stronger power unit to cover them off, you could go, for example, and go with Quantum. 21 power unit, you lose some speed, so now you're very good at power unit tracks, you're decent at cornering, you're going to struggle a little bit in the speed section. And there is a few little bits you can do to change that around as well. So do experiment a little bit with your setup. You can also use it on Dynamo. Look, you can add some more power unit, for example. You can take away cornering and gain speed. So it just depends which one you are favourable to. The drivers. So we know it's an overtaking series now, and the best combination that I like is Max Verstappen and Fernando Alonso. Now, yes, they are high levels or decent levels, or if you're in Series 12, they might not be. But 88, 86 overtaking for where I am at the moment with my levels. We both have decent qualifying as well, 83, 81 at these levels. Race start is pretty bad for Verstappen, but you can use a race start boost. Alonso's you can get away with. And then look at the tyre management. Alonso is actually really good for tyre management. He can do a lot of decent strategies. And Verstappen is not too bad either on the 78. So we will pick these two. We're going to go for the favourable overtaking drivers. You could use Lewis Hamilton. Not too bad, but he starts quite far back. Norris could be used as well, but his overtaking's not great, so I want to really avoid him, even though he's got decent overtaking. Well, he's got okay overtaking, but his qualifying is a lot better and his race start. So I would be going for them two drivers in Series 12. So that is your setups. We'll run through it really quickly again for you. Series 10 then, we want this balanced setup because two of your cars are cornering based. The drivers, Yuki Tsunoda and Danny Ricciardo because of tyre management. Setup number 2, Russell and Albon with a car setup that features speed and a little bit of qualifying. Series 12, we have got balanced setup. You may want to feature some more power unit as example in this one with some good overtaking drivers. So hopefully you've enjoyed this little breather into how to master Series 10, 11, 12 after a track rotation, and it's going to help you out a lot as you go to try and progress or earn the coins and parts in those series. Let me know down below, do you want to see these videos every time we come to a track rotation? Let me know, and fingers crossed this has been a valuable video for you to watch and you can learn from as well as we set you up for success here in F1 Clash.